Hey everybody, welcome to the Power Hour of Love. I'm Charboil and this is...
El Bandito.
Hey El Bandito, how's it going tonight?
Oh, man, I'm doing good tonight. We have an exciting show for everybody, man. We're going to have a really awesome time here in the month of August because we have slated the entire month to all of the amazing creators that we've met on our awesome journey out here on the interwebs, man. We've gotten to connect with so many talented people that we're just blown away, and so many of them are totally not getting the recognition that they deserve. And we wanted to make sure that we took some time from our humble little show to highlight some of these amazing artists out here, man. So we decided to dedicate the entire month of August to doing just that. So every Monday night in August, we're going to have on a very special creator. I know we told you all last week that tonight Connor's going to be joining us from Swords and Sorrows. Now, he's the writer over there. And, dude, I'm just so stoked. How about you, Senor Bull?
Oh, you know it, man. You know, like, if you guys didn't catch last week's show, we made that big announcement, man, that we are now Power Hour Worldwide, where you can catch us on Facebook Live, YouTube, and on Twitch, all streaming live simultaneously with all that action, man. So, you know, I'm so excited about that, you know. But, yeah, like you said, bringing on Conner and the rest of the crew, you know, for this month, man, to kind of, you know, really just, you know, celebrate these guys that are going out there, putting out some really cool stuff. And, you know, it's just super exciting, man. I am stoked, like you said.
Absolutely. And look, Travis Gibb has joined us right there in the comments. He's going to be on next week telling us about his exciting comic down there. Travis, you want to post a link or something in the comments, man? Absolutely feel free. And, you know, we'll see you next week and talk to you about the exciting work that you're doing too, my friend. But right now, we've got Conner waiting. He's on the line. I know we want to get to him pretty soon here. So what do you think, Senor Bull? We'll just jump right into it?
Let's do it.
All right. So here we are over in the interview room. What's going on, Conner? I'm going to turn your volume up here. Hang on. There we go. I think we got you.
Hey there. Check, check.
Absolutely.
Sounding good.
Oh, you know it, man. We got Conner here, man. We're so excited. Conner's coming to us all the way from Alaska, man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you, Conner?
My full name's Conner Bartel. I just turned 23 a couple days ago, and I do my best to write comics, and every once in a while I succeed.
Oh, man. Well, hey, look, happy birthday. I think, hold on. We're going to show you some love for your birthday. How about that?
There we go. Throw him some love.
Let's see. Let's see what we could do here.
Oh, yeah. Make it happen.
Wait. Where's all our love stuff?
Oh, our
My love went away. I don't have any love for you. I'm sorry.
You know what I noticed, though?
What's that?
I noticed you got those red cherry blossom leaves in the background on that graphic. I feel like that's love enough.
There you go, man. We spared no expense here at the Power Hour to get you on and show you some love, sir. So I'm glad you're digging it. But yeah, absolutely, man. It's on the cover of the book that you're putting out here, Swords and Sorrows, man. There you guys can see some of the leaves right there. And, man, you know, just when you first hit us up and we got to the Kickstarter page, this is the first image that you see. And we were just like, dude, that looks gorgeous. So we know you've got an artist whose name we don't want to get wrong. Can you tell us what his name is?
Adigun Ilhan. It actually is pronounced the exact way it's spelled.
Awesome. Okay, we might have got that one right for once then.
No weird stuff. Yeah, Adigun Ilhan.
Awesome. Well, I know he was trying to get in touch with us, but Adigun is actually all the way from Turkey, right?
Yeah. He's 11 hours ahead of us.
Wow. Man, that's you know, so we'll definitely get into like the, you know, definitely your guys' collaboration process a little later on, you know, how that goes about. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the story behind Sword and Sorrows? Sorry.
All right, yeah. So Swords and Sorrows is a one-shot, and it is, like I said, illustrated by Adigun Ilhan, who took a lot of inspiration from Akira Kurosawa.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, he loves him, and he took a lot of inspiration from him visually, and this was kind of just like, I don't know, like a little love letter to Japanese style storytelling, you know, like it's about a man who finds that he has to kill the master that raised him in order to like achieve the life that he wants. And within that comes some interesting conflict that he wasn't even expecting, and things don't get quite as simple, you know, as he hoped it'd be. It's a really simple story, but like I said, it's like a love letter to Japanese storytelling. Like I really love the master apprentice relationship that you see in a lot of Japanese stories,
Mm-hmm.
and just and they tend to care a lot about emotion
Yeah.
and just like the human condition in stories, and telling really interesting stories with that over in Japan. Like I don't know if you noticed, like in the Marvel movies, like the Japanese trailers are always like highlighting more emotional scenes than the American trailers are highlighting, Iron Man kicking ass.
Yeah, yeah. The American trailers are all about explosions.
Yeah, like Michael Bayhem,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, Connor,
and
I
so
gotta let you know, man. The comments out here are blowing up, man. The Power Hour fans out there, what we have come to refer to as our Legion of Love, man. They're throwing you down some birthday love, buddy. So
awesome. You guys are the best. What a bunch of sweethearts down in the comments.
Absolutely, man. And like we were saying, we love this artwork, man.
Yeah.
We love the story.
Yeah.
So you're doing this through Kickstarter. Now, from what we've learned, this isn't your first rodeo, huh? Like you've actually had a couple successful Kickstarters under your belt.
Yeah, this is my third Kickstarter. First Kickstarter that wasn't, my debut series. And so, new challenges come with that. But yeah, this is our third Kickstarter. We just like, speaking of love, like we just get so much love on Kickstarter. We really developed like our fan base on Kickstarter, and God, they're so amazing. We got people from Austria, Australia, like all these countries I've never even thought like that would ever read my comics, and it's just really cool. We're not reaching record numbers or anything. We're 150 plus backers, but like, that's amazing to do in a month for
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
guys. And this is all people, supporting us, that are buying into more than just the comics. And yeah, it's so amazing on Kickstarter. Just a bunch of amazing people that just want to be supportive,
Well, I know the indie scene in comics, man, is great as well, because a lot of mainstream comics, like you said, it ends up being a lot of kind of the same material. We're seeing the same characters now for 30, 40
Yeah.
years, and all the people who are kind of coming up with the original work are all doing it indie style, and they're some of the best books you can get. And I have to say, man, we got to give a shout out to you for being kind enough to shoot us over a complete copy of the book before anyone else ever got a chance to see it.
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys jumping and reading on that right away. Like, I was excited to hear what you had to say.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, I got to tell you, you mentioned that the book was a one-shot, right? So I'm going to run through all my list of thoughts real quick, okay? But you mentioned the book was a one-shot, and I love that idea, because on Kickstarter, I always get nervous when they're like, oh, yeah, the next issue is going to come out in 4 months, and then you're like, okay, a lot of things can happen in 4 months. Maybe I'll never get the rest of this story, and that kind of drives me nuts. So I love that it has a conclusion in one book, And again, it's the type of conclusion that we can build on it. It can have sequels and you can make more books, but I still get one story, one book, and I love that.
Yeah, that was also really important to us. One, our last series was Grimwood Crossing, and this book is 22 pages.
Mhm.
Grimwood Crossing was about 150 pages total.
Wow.
And so, it was a really big endeavor, and that was our debut project. You usually don't want to start with something that big. So, it took a lot out of us, and part of the reason why we were comfortable bringing that type of story to Kickstarter is because I had already funded a third of that content out of my pocket. So like, I felt like I'd established like, a trustworthiness that I'm gonna finish this. So like, we decided to get like kickstart like half of it in one Kickstarter. People were going to have to trust us that we were going to get them that last half, you know what I mean? But we had built up some sort of trustworthiness by funding it ourselves, even if those people had never heard of us at that point. And so it was really important to us. We went and finished it with the second Kickstarter. It was really important to us to like bring a complete product in one campaign this time.
That's pretty cool. Now, so you guys have worked together on all three of your projects?
On all three of the Kickstarters, yeah, it was me and Adigan.
That's awesome, man. Now, I know El Bandito and I kind of collaborated a couple questions, that we kind of, came up with what we had.
I know. I still had my list of stuff I wanted to say. Though.
Oh, you did?
I'm sorry. Can I run through the rest?
Sure, go right ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off, man. I know Bull's like, damn, dude, all you do is just talk right over me, man. But it's all good.
Sorry, I went on like a tangent.
No, it's okay. I'll make it quick, man. But yeah, as far as reading the whole issue, I gotta say, all the beautiful people out there, the Legion of Love watching, man, head over to the Kickstarter page and grab yourself a copy of this book. I love the fact that you can get it for like not very expensive. You can grab a digital copy, and even a printed copy is an amazing value, especially looking at some of the other things that you get with it. We'll talk about the Kickstarter itself a little bit later, but reading the full book by itself, I'm like, dude, this has such a great arc from beginning to end where a lot of stuff happens and a lot of things change, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I was very impressed with where the story went. It really went in a direction that I wasn't expecting, and I super thought it was great, and I love the ambition that it has to be like, we can have sequels on the back end of this, but this one story is so complete and kind of teaches you this little lesson that I loved it, man. And you mentioned Kurosawa. It was so funny. That's exactly who we dropped last week when we were talking about having looked at the pages.
Oh, yeah.
So it's so funny that that's actually where he's drawing some inspiration from, because this artwork is phenomenal. I mean, just being black and white, I'm typically turned off by black and white comics. I don't normally like them, but this was one that was so easy to get into and love because it's done right. All the black and white is done right. It's fantastic. The contrast is beautiful, and things jump off the page. It's so dynamic, man. So great value, great book, guys. You got to get out here and check this out.
Thank you so much. You're gonna make me cry. This is the first, not people that don't know me personally. It's the first time someone's read it and actually told me what they said. So I'm glad. Oh, sorry.
No.
It's all good. Look at the weather out. There's nighttime here, man.
Oh yeah, it's never nighttime in Alaska.
That's awesome, man.
Well, the Legion of Love here, they're definitely loving it as well. People are throwing down some awesome comments in there, and definitely, if you guys in the Legion of Love have any questions for Conner, definitely throw them down in there. We are going to have more of an open Q&A a little later. But like we were saying earlier, we did have a few questions, such as what forced? Well, I didn't say what forced. What went with the decision to make it a black and white comic?
So, I always say that, and I'm definitely not the only one. It's, there's a reason why the sentiment has been repeated over the years. But you should always write what you want to read, right?
Yeah.
And God damn, my favorite comics are black and white. It's just a coincidence, I promise, but they are, you know what I mean? And so, the stories I tend to want to write are the ones that would fit black and white. And, beyond the obvious that black and white is cheaper to print and cheaper to produce, I just I write my comics the way I read them, black and white. I love them. I love Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
The show is trash. I love Elf Quest. Oh man, Elf Quest is one of those books that I feel like I've been reading it since I was a kid. I've only been reading it I think I read it for the first time last year, but it's quickly shot to the top of my favorites.
How about Sin City? Where does that rank on the list?
I haven't read it.
Oh, hey. Well, definitely the reason it really comes to mind too. I mean, I definitely have read the graphic novels, which they are very good. If you want, definitely more noir, But have you ever seen the film?
Yeah. I actually do enjoy the film. I really enjoy the visual style.
Yeah.
I think pop color is something that can be really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Just even beyond just red and blood and stuff. Pop color is something that can be really powerful. But at the same time, in my stories, I really don't want gore to be the focus, and that's hard in comics because you don't gore is something that happens at special moments, and so artists go into great detail and it tends to take over a scene, and I want to be able to get graphic, but I don't want it to be distracting.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned a couple of the books that do black and white well. The Walking Dead, the original run of Ninja Turtles that was black and white was perfect. But you also kind of said the other thing that leads me in the not black and white direction is that for a lot of people it's cheaper to print black and white. So people who aren't very good will make a lot of black and white comics too. And this is not one of them. This is a great comic that's in black and white. But I have been burned so many times by black and white that's where my kind of fear of it comes in. But if you don't mind, I'm going to run through some slides while we're talking that are from the first 5 pages that you guys put out. We didn't want to spoil any of the ones you sent us, but we just grabbed a couple of the scenes that we thought were like, this is capturing the black and white and just selling it, man. Like this is great. I mean, here we got the, assassin slitting the throat of this girl here. And like you said, it's intense and it pops through the whole scene. It's dynamic, breaking the panel and everything, but it's not gory at all.
Yeah, good at that.
Yes. And not gory, like you said. I mean, there's obviously blood in the scene. It's obviously an intense moment, but your focus is on the act, not the kind of shock value or gore of it. So I think that's a very powerful way to showcase an assassin book,
Oh, Chris Hall, he threw down 30 Days of Night, another good black and white comic.
Speaking of Alaska.
Yeah, of Alaska.
I know. Our other comic creators here, man, they're blowing up the stream here. Travis Gibb wants to know if you can cry in Alaska or do your tears just freeze up?
Oh, actually, there's just no tears in Alaska at all. We're all too tough, man.
That's awesome, man. Well, Sean O'Toole says that's my boy out there, so Sean's giving you a shout out.
That is my boy.
Awesome. And
Sean's birthday was 2 days ago, so I want to say happy birthday to Sean.
There you go. Happy birthday to Sean as well.
Absolutely. I'm sure the Legion of Love will be jumping on that too. Brian E. says that cover looks amazing. So definitely Brian's throwing some love for Sword and Sorrows. Sorry, man. I'm getting all tongue-tied tonight.
All right. Here's another great panel you guys had, man. That's just the use of the negative space in the white. It's beautiful.
That reminds me, that image was recreated by a fan.
Really?
As fan art, and that was a huge deal to me. It's the first time I've ever gotten fan art.
That's super cool, man. Yeah, I mean, getting that notoriety, getting some feedback is great, And I mean, we're the Power Hour of Love. We like to, promote things that we like, but we'd tell you if it sucked. We would. We're honest people. This is great, man. This looks hot.
Before we go live.
No, like I said, this image, you're right, Al Bandito. I remember we were reading through it, I was like, man, that's just so cool.
Yeah,
man.
like this is the use of white here is fantastic,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and not only that, but Adigan, he really goes balls to the wall when he looks up like how to recreate a setting and how to represent a culture within a setting. That's where you get those like really detailed backgrounds. He did the same thing with Grimwood. He really brought Grimwood to life. Like there's little things that an artist thinks about that, other people don't when it comes to settings. Like you don't think, windmills that often, when you think of Westerns. But like when I first saw Adigan like draw all of Grimwood, and there was like a couple windmills here and there, and obviously other stuff, like a hangman's rope and stuff. Like, he really puts so much love into that art, and that's why I love working with him. He's amazing.
Oh, I don't blame you, man. And that kind of leads into another one of the questions we had. That's basically, what is your guys' collaboration like? I mean, being that far apart. Is it mostly through text? Do you guys Skype and have conversations? How much of you do you feel like is in each panel?
So how we work is a lot like a typical like writer-artist relationship. I write a pretty detailed script. I choose how many panels are in each page, and I say what happens in each panel. Like I control like the overall pacing and how and I write a pretty detailed script. Adigan, he does follow that script, but we've just found that we work together so well. So there's a lot of like back and forth that we can just ignore, like not have, and he really brings himself to the script, and he allows my script to like bleed through the art. Like it's a beautiful collaboration, like most writers I wrote all of Grimwood before I ever met Adigan. But I'm not going to sit here and call myself the creator. I am the co-creator because Adigan, you know, he brings so much to the table as far as or so much like new creativity to the table as far as like adding new elements in the panels, you know.
Sure.
Like for instance, Swords and Sorrows, it was actually written to be all indoors.
Oh, really?
And so Adigan's like, hey man, I would really prefer if I could draw some outdoor scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was like, you keep my story intact and you do you. You know what I mean? And so like right when the fight starts, he kicks him through a window and now we're outside. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and like
But,
you said,
at the same time,
it's a gorgeous,
what?
detailed outside too, you know, and very distinct. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's culturally distinct, which is awesome.
Yeah, he like exaggerated a lot of the nature
Mm-hmm.
in the comic, and it really brought like this really cool fantasy element to it, you know. Yeah. I really enjoy that. But yeah, like, you know, he's the reason why there's any outdoor scenes, you know.
That's
like
awesome.
As a matter of fact, I started writing Swords and Sorrows because I wanted to write a story that took place mostly in one room.
Mm.
But you know, like, it's a collaboration. He didn't want that, so I was willing to drop that. You know what I mean?
So that's cool. So you guys really do work well together in that capacity of like you're pushing each other's boundaries a little bit.
Yeah, and we also, I feel like we have the same goals too. When we were done with Grimwood, we both were like, not another long story for a long time, you know. and you know, I had wrote Swords and Sorrows. You know, I didn't say anything in the script specifically about it being Japanese,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, like I used the word katana, you know, and just like it, I did want to write a Japanese style story, but I was willing to, like, you know, place it in another setting depending on what artist I found. And then Adigan told me, like, oh, I've been watching a lot of Kurosawa. I'm really inspired. I want to do a Japanese comic. And I was like, hey, I got a script.
That's awesome.
There. So we both were just really, really wanted to do a Japanese style story.
And it is very funny when you when you collaborate with someone for so long, like you do kind of get to have this like kind of like almost like symbiotic like relationship. Yeah. Like I know El Bandito and I like we'll come up with plans for Power Hour and then we'll meet to go over them, and we've almost like kind of have like identical plans on what we wanted to do. So it kind of, you know, we definitely know that feeling where it's like you guys are like on the same, you know, just the same wavelength. So it's very cool.
Yeah, there's a reason why a lot of people in the comic industry call it dating your collaborator or marrying your collaborator, because it really is like a deep relationship. I don't want to make the room uncomfortable for you two, but it really
no, we're all good, man. We're the Power Hour of love, man. We're all good.
Power Hour of love, baby.
Yeah, but that does bring up another thing we wanted to talk to you about, is that we noticed on your website you have a lot of sort of blog-like commentary on how to... Oh, we got put on hold. Hopefully he can still hear us. Let's see what happens. Hey, he's
there you
back.
go.
I got a call from my barber shop of all places.
Hey, there was
needy barber shop. But what were you saying?
They wanted to wish you a happy birthday.
I know. Right? They're probably calling like, "Why are you wearing a hat, bro? Show off our freaking work there, man. Give us a plug." You know? But anyways, so yeah, you do write sort of a blog on your website talking about tips and strategies for indie creators, man. And I thought that was really cool. I saw the dating a collaborator thing, and I instantly went to that because I was like, oh, this is great. Like, where can I meet hot women that, you know, make comic books? And so when I actually read it and I saw that your whole meaning behind it was how to collaborate with people and what an intimate relationship that becomes, I thought that was very insightful, man. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about that and kind of what prompted you to do that and where that's going to go?
Oh, well, thanks for reading that, first of all. I don't put images on that, so I feel like I don't get a lot of traffic on those, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the I feel like there's a lot of misdirected attention when it comes to new people in the comic book industry, and I'm new myself, so I'm not trying to act like I'm a veteran or anything. But it's just you know, a lot of people, they want to start with like a huge story, you know what I mean, right off the bat, like a big, you know, multi-issue superhero ongoing epic series,
Yeah.
you know, and I did that same thing, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I did that same thing. And you know, they want to go and convince an artist that, you know, drawing their first book is an opportunity for them, so they should do it for free.
Yeah.
You know, there's just a lot of like misguided information out there. And I just wanted to, you know, kind of do my part to set the course straight, you know, like try and funnel the industry so it's not so gated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Funnel people into it, you know, and because that's how we get the best work, by, you know, helping the most unique types of people, you know.
Oh,
Oh man, that barbershop's trying to get a hold of him. They really want you to take that hat off, don't they?
I'm a lonely person. Where are all these calls coming from?
Well,
But-
we definitely see a lot of love coming down in the comments. That we're going to try to share a link to your blog right now. It looks like Al Bandito is working on that. So so that's real cool, man. And you know, one thing I definitely wanted to talk about real quick were just some of these pledge rewards that you guys have coming down the way here. I just think for, you know, like we've looked at a lot of Kickstarters and stuff, and man, you guys just have a really cool, affordable way of getting your art and story out to your fans, and I think that's really cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you know, we're not trying to make $1 million. You know, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get, you know, Adigan does this artwork for a living. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get him the money he deserves,
Sure.
and I need money to ship and print,
Mm-hmm.
and then like, so we're just trying to keep it bottom line, you know, nothing too much. I was actually worried about charging $7 for like a 22-page black and white comic, so I decided to add art prints in there, you know,
Okay.
increase the value, because my bottom line is I can't go lower than that, or
Yeah,
else
yeah.
we're losing.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Well, I
Yeah,
think it's,
so
if you don't
So
mind,
what?
we'll run down these real quick just so people can kind of get a taste for it. You know, for $3, you guys can get yourself a digital copy of the Sword and Sorrows comic. Now, for $7, you get the physical copy, which is awesome. You know, you want to be able to hold that art in your hand
Yeah.
and read it. You know, now for $9, we see you have the ultimate digital bundle. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Connor?
So, we had a, I'm sure you're gonna get to it later, but we had a physical version of that,
Mm-hmm.
and because, you know, like a lot of people, I just wanted to like give a really good deal. You know what I mean? I wanted to try to get that one tier that a lot of people are gonna try and grab,
Yeah.
because it was a straight up good value. You know, so I had the books. You always one of my Kickstarter tips is always bring in your previous work,
Mm-hmm.
because that's
Sure.
work that's already done. So it's all profit from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus,
Well,
people may not have
profit,
had
but
eyes on
all-
it, so you're getting some attention to it too, which is always good. Yeah.
And so some people, you know, like in Australia, were like, "Hey, man, I really can't pay for that shipping because Australia is really far away in another world." You know, but I really want that. I really want that. Grimwood as well. Can we, like, you know, can you add that digitally? And I thought I was an idiot for not doing it before. But yeah, so I wanted that one. You know, digital doesn't cost us anything to email you some files, you know what I mean, or a link to download some files. And so I just wanted to like get one of those like ultimate tiers that really pop out at you, and you're like, damn, that's a good deal. So that's kind of what I was going for there.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
No doubt. And I know it contains a number of these other books, right? Let me see here if I can see.
It also contains Grimwood Crossing Volume 1 and 2.
Okay.
So it's about 170 pages of comic.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
now that
awesome,
is a
man.
deal, man. For $9, that's awesome. Now,
And all by this beautiful artist.
awesome. Now for $12, they get the physical copy with the sketchbook extras as well.
Yeah, so it's the sketchbook edition, and we're kind of billing it as like ultimate access to Adigan's sketchbook. Like
That's
Adigan
awesome.
draws some crazy stuff, and he really does have a lot of fun. And so he just has like all these beautiful drawings. Sometimes he'll just send them to me like, hey, check this out. He'll just have all these beautiful drawings that he just sends to me, and I was like, our backers would love this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's easy to just throw up images on Instagram and see who finds what, but like being able to flip through, even though even though it's gonna be like copied and printed versions of it, you still kind of feel the presence of the artist. You know what I mean? When you're actually holding it there, as opposed to scrolling through something. And
Oh, absolutely.
so we wanted to give him like ultimate access to his sketchbook. Like what on the back of one of Grimwood Crossing's pages, there's a picture of Batman riding a toilet like a motorcycle. It's like just crazy stuff like that. Like, and I just think that'd be really, people would really like to see that. Also, we have like sketched versions or penciled versions of the art. Like,
nice.
I really love getting the artwork before the ink is applied. It's just like it looks so cool with all those pencils,
Oh yeah.
and like a lot of other people would like that too. So we include those. I also include the script because I'm vain. But yeah, just like all kinds of stuff. I didn't include the script in the special edition of Volume 1 of Grimwood, and a lot of people were telling me that they would have liked to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So I included the issue 6 script in Volume 2, and I just wanted to continue that trend, see what people like.
Yeah, very cool, because that is interesting. I have a couple of, I think Identity Crisis had a special edition that had the original script, and then you could see where it grew and where it changed, and it would make special notes of pointing out, like, look at what the artist did with, like, this one little word I put, and then he did this amazing thing with it.
Exactly.
So
Exactly what it is. It's like you're gonna really see like even if you finish a script before you even ever talk to the artist, you know what I mean? It is not your book because like it's both of your books, because it's amazing what just Adigan brings to it. I've worked with lots of artists and many different kinds of artists. There's artists out there that either are too scared to or don't trust themselves enough to take a little initiative with the script.
Sure.
All I care about is what I need to be accomplished on that page accomplished, and it's not conflicting with other things. You know what I mean? Like there's times where Adigan just wants to combine 2 panels because he has a really cool idea for that, and I just want him to go with it.
No, that's awesome. It's great to have an artist that, you can have that trust in too. That you guys have worked on some stuff. You've seen where the liberties pay off when you give it to them. So that's awesome, man. Now, I know the next one on the Kickstarter is the one that we got, the Ultimate Fan Bundle. And this is only...
Wait, you guys... what?
This is only $30, and this is the bundle that we got.
Just pledged?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
What?
Yeah. It pledges my personal thing, so it's not going to say Power Hour, but I think I'm backer number 142, it said. But
oh my gosh.
yeah, we got the 170 pages of comic book goodness with this. So this was an ultimate deal to me, because for that $30,
I thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. But thank you for making an awesome book and giving us a sneak peek at the work. I can't wait to get a printed thing. I'm a big printed guy. I want to have everything I can touch.
Man, I'm about to send the files into the printer like here in the next couple days.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And get my own print for the first time. So that's super exciting.
Oh, totally. But we definitely wanted to get our hands on both Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Grimwood Crossing. So this comes with that. It comes with the art print. You get a digital copy of Sword and Sorrows. You get the sketchbook edition of Sword and Sorrows, and you get the digital versions of both Grimwood Crossings. So I mean, this was an ultimate fan edition, man. So we had to grab that.
Oh, thank you so much. That's awesome. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna cry.
No crying in Alaska, right?
No, I actually just. Oh yeah, I know, right? That actually reminds me. I was just doing a live stream with my editor a couple days ago, and that moment is when I had learned that Len Wein had died.
Oh,
yeah. He told me on live stream. I'm about to tear up right now, but he told me on live stream, And I was like, God, thank God no one watches our live streams because I'm about to start crying. Like, it's not even just, yeah. I'm not going to get into Len Wein right now. But I like that. I just thought that was like crazy how, live moments just get captured online like crazy nowadays. And what a kind of important moment in my life is now captured live on Facebook.
Well, absolutely, man. That's like we've been doing this for a few years now, and it definitely does. Like a lot of times, you just don't get that same kind of reaction if you do something pre-record. Just the live, element of it is just really cool. We're glad you're enjoying it. We're enjoying it, and the fans are enjoying it too. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned to the fans yet is when the Kickstarter actually ends. So why don't we throw that information down there just so they know, how much time they have to jump on this awesome deal.
I know it's definitely ongoing right now, and I believe it ends August 20th, right?
Yes, it ends August 20th.
All right, and we're proud to say, man, congratulations, because you have met your goal. You are fully funded right now, so there's no risk here, guys. You're gonna get a great book, so get out there.
The comic is done.
Yeah, it's done. We read it, and it's dope, man. Like, you're definitely
awesome.
gonna want to check this out. And it's backed. If you want a printed copy, you're gonna get a beautiful printed copy, man. So I mean, there's no reason not to jump on this, guys. So.
Absolutely, all Bandito, man. Like I loved what we saw. We're getting, like I said, I can't wait to get some eyes on Grimwood Crossing and see what's going on there. We're a big fan of the horror genre, and when I hear Grimwood Crossings, I think of like Deadlands. Like we're also into like RPGs and stuff.
I
like
love
that.
westerns. I'm such a sucker for westerns that I saw that was like, oh, dude, that's so cute.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Grimwood is a combination of like all my favorite things, really. Like I said before, I love the master-apprentice relationships and how it fits into a narrative, and I really love monster hunting stories. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love Angel. Just stuff like that. Like, there's something about someone. Some normal, I mean, Buffy's not normal, but like an overall normal person facing these threats that we can't even imagine.
You think like a Supernatural style. You ever watch Supernatural?
Okay, that's the next thing I was gonna get into. So did you guys? I'm a huge fan of Supernatural. Do you guys remember that Western episode?
Yes.
So they were gonna do a whole show about Samuel Colt in the Wild West.
That would have been hot.
God damn it, would you guess if they canceled it before they even started filming?
Oh.
I was so distraught that I wrote Grimwood Crossing.
That's awesome, man. Well,
that is literally what happened. Like, I was really sad because I was really excited to get a supernatural Western TV show.
Yeah. I mean, hey, one episode's great, but dude, a whole series on that, especially done in that pipeline, because that's an awesome show. I'm a super huge fan of that as well. And
I also love small town stories too. So that's where Grimwood fit into that.
Yeah, where everything doesn't have to be so big city, fast paced, everything on the internet. This really kind of takes it back a notch and is a more regular person story. So I love that.
Absolutely, man.
I'm really proud of Grimwood, and I'm happy that I'm finally starting to hear what people think about the whole thing, and I'm really happy I didn't waste all that time on something that was crap.
Well, I know we've got a bunch more questions for you about Grimwood, but we'd love to ask them on the other side of our PoDunk news, man. So if you don't mind, I think we're going to jump into the newsroom and do some news so you can hang out and listen in on that, and we'll come back to you and talk to you Grimwood after.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. All right, we'll get back to you in a few minutes then.
All right.
PoDunk News.
All right, everybody, are you ready? I said, are you ready? It's time for PoDunk News. It's that crazy time of the night where we just jump in and tell you guys all these wild, crazy, nerdy stories that are going on out there in this PoDunk world that we all know and love.
Absolutely, guys. Let me just go ahead and get the screen dropped. Let's get our images up. I am super not sure that I put any images in here. I'm going to check real quick.
Oh, man.
I don't think I did, but give me a second and we'll put them up. Stall for time, Bull.
Absolutely. I'm good at stalling for time. Well, if this is your guys' first night joining us, definitely, like we said at the beginning, we like to jump in and tell you guys some of the craziest stuff that we found on the internet over the past week. It can span all types of stuff from pro wrestling to video games, to cult movies, to classics, to just stuff that
talking about wrestling. Here we go, bro.
You summon it right up. Here we go. And man, I got to tell you, this story, one of our Legion of Love, members actually sent this to me, and I said, this has to go in to PoDunk News this week. So Eric G, if you're out there, this one's for you, buddy.
Let's check it out.
Oh, man. Glenn Jacobs, better known to the wrestling world as the Big Red Machine, Kane. He recently won his race for the mayor of Knox County in Tennessee. So now you have an active WWE employee who I'm sure is going on a sabbatical.
Active is kind of the key word. I mean, Jesse Ventura did some politics after he wrestled years ago and stuff like that. But Kane was just like wrestling not too long ago.
Like last month.
And now he's, bam, the mayor of a town. But I have to say, man, if you're going to be a mayor of a town, like, I have a feeling he's doing it totally like Saints Row style, where he's like, I'm going to clean this bitch up myself, one criminal at a time.
One choke slam at it. He choke slammed him straight to hell, JR. Or actually, that would be JR. King, is he still alive? Well, one thing I thought was really awesome is that when Glenn came out to, for his acceptance speech, he used the theme music from Kane. So he's fully, embodying the whole thing that he is the wrestler Kane. He's not trying to hide it. He even made a joke that the people he was running against, he was they were gonna have a cage match later. So kind of some funny stuff.
Well, hey, good for him. I'm sure he'll do a great job out there and have a lot of fun, man, and really just make the political scene kind of great again.
Oh, absolutely, man. And even before he became Kane, he did have some other arcs in the WWF at the time. He was Isaac Yankem, the Jerry Lawler's evil dentist. This was like the 90s, so like there was like a dentist wrestler, a garbage man, all kinds of stuff like that. Then he actually took on the role as Fake Diesel after Kevin Nash went to WCW.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get in on a little bit of that NWO popularity that was going on. So, but I mean, those were all pre-Kane era.
Didn't he like marry Lita once or something like that?
Yeah, Kane did. Yeah, that was a whole story. Actually, it was a pretty gruesome story too.
Yeah.
Like she lost a baby. Okay, but this is all about the love for Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah,
not his previous storylines, and because there is that whole Katie Vick story too. That I don't know how that didn't get brought up.
We'll give it that Kevin Nash powerbomb. We're just like.
Absolutely. But we know the Legion of Love that are wrestling fans are digging this. So definitely congratulations to Glenn Jacobs, and we'll see what he does.
No doubt, man. But next up, we got a really cool story about American Horror Story, man. I know you're a super big fan of the show. I haven't checked it out very often, but why don't you tell everybody what's going on?
Well, one thing that everyone's really excited about with this show is that this is the first season that they're going to take two different storylines. The show is set up like an anthology. Every season was like a new story, but it would have the same actors and actresses returning to new roles. But this is the first time where they're going to actually have two of those stories meet up and most likely battle.
Yeah,
but
so it's like they're different characters in different times and places, and every season's been different, but now they're finally bringing two seasons of characters together, and in the most interesting way, because the same actors play the characters in different seasons.
I guess it could save you a little bit of money because you got a guy doing double duty in some cases.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things is for the first 4 seasons of the show, Jessica Lange, known for many different roles that she's been in. She was kind of pretty much the head star, in the show, and then she departed after 4 and hasn't been back since. Well, due to that, the story that they're combining included a character that was still alive by Lang. It was announced that she is returning for season 8.
Oh,
So
man.
that's pretty exciting, for any American Horror Story fan, because definitely I think a lot of people kind of consider those earlier seasons the better ones.
Sure.
I've enjoyed all of them for this and that, but definitely this particular character, I'm very interested to see when she comes back, and I think all hell's going to break loose.
Well, I know fans should be pumped that American Horror Story has already been renewed for a 9th and 10th season following the big story this year. And this new story will premiere September 12th.
Oh,
So
right
keep an eye
around the
out for
corner.
that. Yeah, it should be a super ton of fun.
What's next, El Bandito?
We got some official release dates for some awesome games coming out, and looks like the first quarter of 2019, man. So we just figured we'd run through a couple of those for all you beautiful people out there.
Oh, let's let them have it.
All right, first up, February 22nd is a hot day for video games. Anthem is going to be released that day.
Oh man, if you're a fan of playing with your friends, definitely, take this day off, be ready to jump into your mech suit and go out there and cause some trouble out there in the world of Anthem. I know Party Man Will, who was on, a few months ago with us, I know he can't wait for this one to drop. Well, now, here you go, buddy. We got the date for you. February 22nd, 2019.
And this seems like such an awesome game, man, because it's like a mix of Iron Man, Armored Core, and like Elite Dangerous. You're just going around to weird alien planets, and you're like, Iron Man sort of suit that you can mech out however you want and run around, kick ass, and fight monsters, dude. This just sounds super dope. I can't wait for this game.
Oh, yeah. What's next?
We got Metro also coming out. Metro Exodus coming out
man.
February 22nd, man. Like I said, it's going to be a hot day for gaming.
I know that was another one that Party Man Will was really eyeballing, so he's going to have to make his choice. But I have a feeling, I know if he was in the comments, he'd throw it down, but I think that Anthem is going to win that battle.
Yeah, because Metro's what? This is like a third-person shooter, kind of like The Division, sort of?
Yeah, and it looks like it's kind of going more into like those horror elements, where it's kind of more spooky, going underground and crazy shit that looks like it's coming out of like Cloverfield coming after you.
Well, I think that fans of Metro Exodus, they may be saving their money. I don't know, because The Division 2 is coming out March 15th.
Yeah, man. I know we saw the big, reveal for this at E3 a few months ago, and I never really played the Division 1, but I know you and Party Man and Justin K and all those great, Legion of Love members out there are a fan of the Division and Wildlands and stuff. So are you stoked to see this, man? We know when it's coming.
I'm stoked to check it out, man. I think I could keep playing Wildlands for another year or so, because that game is just so cool and vibrant. And this game looks depressing again. Like Wildlands, the story's a little grim because of all of the drug cartel bad stuff going on, but for the most part all of the characters you interact with are like jovial and just kind of fun, and I like that fun atmosphere even for like a combat heavy game. I think that's a huge reason of why games like Fortnite are such a success, is because they're fun. It's still a game. Let's have some fun. And the Division 2 just doesn't look fun. It looks right back into being this hyper military sort of thing, and that's fine, but I'm not as excited as I think I could have been.
Well, you'll definitely have to reserve your judgment till it comes out.
Yeah.
I know we'll be talking about it here on the Power Hour. But real quick, before we jump into our new headlines segment, which, of course, at the tail end of that, we're going to get back with Conner, I do want to say here that Troy M. in the comments says that he just backed Conner's Kickstarter. So thank you. I'm sorry, Terry. Terry M. just backed it. So thank you, Terry. Definitely thanks for joining the Legion of Love tonight. And Steve Z's definitely throwing down his favorite picks for the games that we announced. And it looks like the Division 2 is on his list.
Oh man, well hey, I'll play it with you, Big Steve. It sounds great, man. But why don't you tell them about a local event we got going on?
Oh, yeah. Before we get into the headlines, man, if you guys live in South Florida, you might want to take the trek to check this out. We got the Cult Classics going on down at the Lyric Theater. And man, the Lyric is located in Stuart, Florida, and it's many years old, and it's really cool to go check out some of these older movies. And they set up the old projector and the screen, and they sell concessions.
And it's a classic theater. It's not like it's old and busty. It's very nice. They keep it in very good shape.
Absolutely, man. And it's starting in August and running through October on select dates. They're going to be showing these cult classics for one day only. They do have 2 2 showings, one earlier in the day and then one in the evening for all of us folks who have to work, But we'll just run down some of the movies that they're going to be playing. They're going to be doing The Big Lebowski. This is Spinal Tap, one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites, I know you dig this one too, Clerks.
Yeah. I can't believe they're showing that, man. That's crazy.
Hey, cult classic, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Pulp Fiction.
Fiction. So I guess if they're doing Pulp Fiction, you could do Clerks.
The Labyrinth. That's a little more lighthearted, for good film.
Night of the Living Dead, also very lighthearted.
And then
family film.
Finishing it up with Donnie Darko.
I know.
They got quite a set. Now here's what
they got the mind fuck right at the end of the series there. I like that. That one that'll just leave you with the rest of the fall like, what?
Well, tickets are $10 a movie. So if you go, but they have a special deal running that for $50 you can actually get admission into all 7 films. So,
save yourself $20. Yeah, it's a good deal.
Absolutely. So like we said, if you're in South Florida, even if you're down further, than Stewart, this might be something worth coming up and checking out downtown Stewart for.
No doubt, guys. If you ever wanted to check out one of these classic films on the silver screen, on a big screen, you didn't get a chance 2 years ago, this is the place to do it, man. It's going to be a real nice theater. They got some nice concession. You go in there and you check it out on a big screen, and it's a fun experience because you're getting a lot of the cult fans. So there's going to be a lot of fanfare in the theater, and just great energy. So it's a fun experience, man. I think you guys would get a kick out of it. But like Senior Bull said, we do have kind of a new segment we wanted to spring on you guys tonight that we call our PoDunk Headlines, man. So we've just noticed that every week when we're putting together the PoDunk News, so many stories have to go by the wayside because they're just bizarre and too long to try to explain, or they got too much going on or too much press coverage already. But we feel like we should just be mentioning these things.
Oh, you know it.
The headlines is kind of our rapid fire segment here, where we're just going to tell you the headlines of some awesome news that we heard and leave it up to you beautiful people to use your Google maters and go out there and Google this stuff on your own.
Let's hit them with it.
All right, first up, Sir Patrick Stewart to reprise role of Captain Jean-Luc Picard in new CBS All Access show.
Awesome.
We can see Connor stoked about that.
That's awesome. All right, what's next?
Next up, Steven Seagal appointed by Russia as special envoy to the United States. For what? I don't know. Go check it out. Maybe it's for Kung Pao chicken.
Under siege.
Scientists have discovered a giant rogue planet bumbling around in space. That's literally the headline, that it's bumbling through space. So awesome. Let's hope it's not anywhere near us. If you're worried about that, go Google it.
All I could think of is that scene from Heavy Metal, right? The planet's literally flying around.
And I don't know, what does it have, a black hole at the top of it? This looks like a terrible planet.
I'm telling you, it's from Heavy Metal, man. I'm telling you.
All right, next up, this one's pretty awesome. Get ready for the next battle. Season 2 is being announced for Tekken 7. And they are adding Walking Dead's character Negan as a playable character to the game. So kind of pretty bitchin' news. They don't seem to have any game footage yet, but really, really cool trailer. I'm sure we'll post up on Facebook a little later this week.
Oh, you know it, man.
All right. And last but not least, our last headline of the night, Twitch streamer Ninja has become the first Twitch streamer to reach 10 million followers, man. So... man, big shout out to Ninja Bro for meeting the goal. We'll show you some love right there.
There you go. We got the love back. There you go. That's all the Legion in there. The Legion of Love, filling us full of love out there.
But so we're stoked about that, man. We've just joined the Twitch community, and we have 1 follower right now. It's only been a week, but hey, we're stoked. We did 1 show, got 1 follower. At that rate, it'll only take us 10 million shows to beat Ninja's score. So we're excited, guys, but definitely head over to our Twitch stream, man. Later this week, we will be streaming on there and having some fun. Like I said, we'll have some exclusive gaming over there. You can check out our archive of playthrough and reviews over on YouTube, and you can check out a lot of videos right here on Facebook Live. So...
absolutely, man.
Yeah. Thank you to our 1 follower.
Like you said, we're going to be getting out there and being more interactive with the Twitch community as well, like you were just mentioning. But man, now it's time for us to get back into our interview room with Connor and talk some more about some of his awesome projects and open up the boards for you guys to throw down some Q&A, and we'll send the questions over to Conner.
Absolutely, guys. Feel free to fire up some more of your guys' questions, and we'll get to them as soon as we see them in the comments. So go for it.
Hey, Conner, how's it going over there?
Hey there. I enjoyed that news segment. There's some interesting things in there.
Awesome.
I know you said you were a fan of gaming, so I figured you'd like a couple of those in there.
Oh, yeah. The real game I'm excited for of quarter 1 2019 is the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, man. That looks
Now,
so good.
Did you play the classic?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that, like, cement man that would drop in, that was, like, playing it the second time, just blew my mind.
And I love the little things they add, like being able to board up windows.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That whole Resident Evil classic moment of like something crashing through the windows in a long hallway.
Yep.
It happens in Resident Evil 1 and 2 and 4, probably all of them. It's so funny to be able to board up windows and kind of like have like a false sense of security from that.
Oh, totally, man. I'll never forget. I don't know where it is, but I know that there's one like hallway that is a really long hallway, and shit would just bash in through like every other window, and every time you jump, man.
Or like in Resident Evil 1 with the dogs, the first time you see the dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
just when you try to open the front door and it plays that movie of the dog. I hated that. That scared the hell out of me, man.
I'm so surprised that it actually let me open the front door. I thought I made a grave mistake.
I remember being like, I got this game figured out. What's the big whoop? Just leave. And it's like,
I actually played the DS version of the original Resident Evil before I played the PS1 version.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I got surprised again because honestly, I just seemed like one of those things that they would only put in the DS version or like they'd put in a remake.
Yeah.
You know? And so I tried it again, and I was surprised again.
That's awesome. And those are some great games. I'm definitely, and I know that one's coming out right around the January time too. So it seems like it's far away, but it'll be here before we blink. So yeah, lots of great games coming out right at the beginning of the year there.
Yeah. Gonna be really excited. 2019, 2018, and 17 have been amazing for video games.
Oh yeah, what have you been playing recently? What's been on the list?
So speaking of Resident Evil, I actually just been picking up Resident Evil 5 to play with my brother online.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I just got Monster Hunter World. I haven't been able to plop that in, but God of War has quickly shot up to some of my favorite game of all time. Horizon Zero Dawn was really amazing. I just because I bought them a long time ago and never actually got into it, I just picked up the Tomb Raider, tried the Tomb Raider games again for the first time. They're really awesome. And then I've been playing what was I gonna say? Oh, I just recently beat the hardest difficulty on The Last of Us, which is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's when we saw the trailer for the second one, we're like, how did we miss the first game? We got to get our hands on this. So,
first game is just an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah. We'll have to check it out then, man. I know we're both diving in right now to Wolfenstein 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I need to pick those up, especially because how amazing Doom was.
Yes.
Doom was so much fun.
We're
man.
big Bethesda fans. You can see I got my Skyrim shirt right here. So.
Doom has a similar dynamic as Tomb Raider, where like they really seem like they're putting like fun before taking itself seriously. Like even Tomb Raider that has like a really serious subject matter, really serious story. Like it's not afraid to get to like feel arcadey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feel like a classic game again.
Dude, in the first Wolfenstein game, it's not a spoiler, it's like a secret thing, so I'm going to tell you, man, but you go into one part of it or whatever, and the guy looks at a newspaper, and the newspaper says, Nazis put a man on the moon. And the character looks at it, and he goes, oh, Nazis put a man on the moon. Well, fuck you, moon. So, yeah, man, it's a riot. It's a super fun game. Yeah. Like it's the moon's fault. You know?
But those are great games, too. I know we're big fans of the Fallout series, so we're eagerly awaiting what they do with the upcoming Fallout 76. So we've been talking a lot about that in the past few
Fallout
weeks.
76 was created for the gamer like me. I feel like a lot of people are hating on it, but I love those survival games. I love building games. I'm about to probably lose a couple backers by saying this, but I couldn't get into 3 or New Vegas, but I got into Fallout 4 easy, and I'm still playing it, to this day. And so like I love Rust. The Forest is like my top 10 favorite games that have come out this generation.
So you're very familiar with these survival-esque kind of games that they're kind of shooting for with Fallout 76. Like when you mentioned Rust, that was what kind of triggered that for me. I know it's deemed as as an influence, at least for what they're trying to do with Fallout 76.
Yeah, and the thing about Rust is like, it's not entirely unique in itself. I think people were like taking that Rust comparison too seriously.
Uh-huh.
It really is. I think what they're trying to say is like, it's going to be a survival game. It's about building a base. Other players are going to be probably the main source of conflict. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I like that. And I think it's okay to be worried, but I think people are overreacting for a game that hasn't even shown real gameplay yet. You know, or like. Yeah. I guess it did at E3, but you know what I mean. Like,
no, yeah.
That was actually one of the problems with their E3 press conferences. They just straight up didn't answer enough of the questions.
It opened more questions.
Yeah. Like, I know our resident video game expert, Steve Z, down there, says Skyrim just got announced for the Atari 2600 because Todd Howard keeps it going, man.
I loved his response to that. When people were saying or like freaking out about Skyrim on every console, you know what I mean? Todd Howard said, "Then stop buying."
You stop buying them, he'll stop making them, right?
I'll tell you, I played Skyrim on Alexa for like an hour and a half. Like I thought it was a joke when you saw that thing, and when he said you could really do it, I was like, I'm gonna go do it. You get sucked in.
I'm so happy I just found out that wasn't a joke, or else I'd look so stupid on live. It's like I just found out like yesterday that was a joke when someone told me they tried it, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was blown away by that, man. But it's like if you ever played a tabletop D&D game or something, it's just like that. Like she's just your narrator telling you the story.
Yeah, I like text-based adventures and stuff too. Yeah,
absolutely. Big fan of the old school styles. Now, earlier you were kind of mentioning that, of course we know you're a fan of comics. So why don't you go ahead and tell us some of your favorite comics, of course, besides your own.
Well, actually, no, my comics are shit. So,
no.
I'm just kidding. Don't listen to me.
All you guys that backed me are suckers.
But no, like I said earlier, I love ElfQuest. There's a simplicity with ElfQuest that I feel like as a creator I haven't quite earned, to be able to write a story like that. And that's just something that appeals to me. You know what I mean? Just it's so simple, and that's what makes it so complicated at the same time.
Yeah.
And Richard and Wendy Penny, the creators, they're married. And so I feel like I assume that they have like a really intimate collaborative relationship, like what we were talking about before. Yeah. And I feel it, you know what I mean? I feel it in their art. I feel it in the writing, and ElfQuest is really great. It's just really great story. It's a lot. It reminds me of like Dragon Ball Z in the sense where you're like, oh my God, what are they gonna do from here? In like season 1 of Dragon Ball Z, and then like by like a few years later, they're like way past that, doing way crazier shit now. Like, and
you thought that first guy was most powerful? Wait till this guy. No, absolutely.
But, I love. We talked about Walking Dead, and Walking Dead kind of has that similarly too, because it's an ongoing series and it's trying to always push the envelope. It has faltered a little bit, but I feel like overall for 150 episodes of just one guy and another guy just busting it out. I know they have a specialized inker now, so. But I just think a lot of people are over harsh on The Walking Dead,
Sure,
partly because of the show.
Well, yeah, it gains other fans. You know, it gets other people looking at it, and then everyone. But sometimes it's cool to have different opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly read the books and the show, and I like them both. They're both so very different that it's like, okay, these,
I like up to season 5 of the show.
Yeah.
Maybe up to halfway through season 6.
Okay, see, I didn't read the Negan stuff in comics. So is he like a lot cooler in comics or something, or?
Honestly, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not even gonna say yes to that because I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan fucking kills it.
He's awesome, man.
I hope cussing is okay on this.
It's okay.
It's the after hours, so we kind of consider
after 10. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, speaking of cussing, Negan is awesome. but no, like I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan is great. I think the writing needs to be worked on. I think the pacing is trash.
Yes, I will agree with that.
I think there's a lot of passionate people on that show that are being hindered by a very greedy company.
Well, that first 4 episodes of season 8, you remember we watched them every single week. And after the 4th episode, I was like, dude, I'm not even going to come over. I don't understand what's happening. It's like we're seeing sequences that are out of time order. And
dude, I was the type of guy that called it Walking Dead Day. Premiere Day was Walking Dead Day, and it was a holiday. I literally told my girlfriend, on our first Walking Dead day, I was like, I don't care what you have planned. I'm watching Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Like, this is a important thing to our relationship, And so, I was really big in it. And then when that whole dumpster Glenn stuff started to happen, I was like, and then that season 6 finale with where they introduced Negan.
Mm-hmm.
That hurt me. That was lazy. That was greedy. It was disrespectful to the viewers.
Come back in about 6 months.
What sucked is that the changes they made to the scene were actually perfect for the TV format.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they killed Glenn and Abraham, that caught me by surprise, and that was cool. Yeah. And Glenn did need to die for that part of the story.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was really cool that they still surprised me. What pissed me off is they could have accomplished a really great thing by killing Glenn at the end of season 6 and in the beginning of season 7 killing Abraham.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that way we wouldn't have felt cheated. But you guys are talking about Walking Dead.
No, that's a great insight to that beginning and premiere. It's a great insight to it, man. So it's cool.
Yeah,
I do see that.
I love the comic. Of course, who doesn't love Saga? I'm a huge fan of Brian K. Vaughan in general. Yeah, Why the Last Man is very influential to me.
Oh yeah, great.
I've said before that Brian K. Vaughan has a way of knowing what his reader is going to be thinking when reading this,
mm-hmm.
and saying that stuff and confronting those thoughts full head on. You know what I mean? There's just, Yorick from Why the Last Man is just one of those characters that is the viewer incarnate, and they're really he has the same thoughts that the viewers have, and Brian K. Vaughan really taps into that really well. I feel like Bobby from Grimwood Crossing was kind of inspired by that. There's a moment where he's talking about something called the demonic dimension, and I was like, man, I was not clever when naming this, but at the same time, it doesn't come up that often, so I don't want to give it a unique name and then have too much attention drawn to something that isn't even that important.
Yeah.
So I just straight up had Bobby say, "Who the hell names these things?" You gotta be a little self-deprecating. I think Brian K. Vaughan really taps into that well.
Yeah.
And those are some of my favorite comics. I just read Nailbiter. The ending was a little disappointing, but it was a really great ride up into the ending.
It sounds like it was a nail biter. So.
You guys have to check that out. I just don't want you. I just want to let you know that you're going to be disappointed by the ending, but it's worth the read still.
Well,
All
definitely.
right, yeah, we'll have to. I'll put that one on the list, man.
You know it, man. And it looks like we're being joined in here by some other great comic book creators. We got Sean Barber in the house. You know,
Nice.
he's
That's my boy.
absolutely great guy as well. You know, he jumps on here at the Power Hour. We probably was about a month ago. We had Mark and Sean and Chris were in the room, you know, doing the comments, and yeah, we had a great talk about Into the Darkness.
Yeah, that was their Kickstarter project, and also Chris Hall threw a shout out for Terry M, who said that he had backed your Kickstarter. That he's also the creator of the Wicked Righteous for Alterna. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Oh wow!
So man, look at that. We got all sorts of stars popping into our show tonight, man. We're
I
stoked.
gotta say, coming on this show is worth it.
Oh, well, thank you, man. No, we're having a lot of fun. You know, we're talking about all kinds of great stuff. If you guys are just joining us, we are talking. Earlier in the show, we were talking about Swords and Sorrows, which is an ongoing Kickstarter campaign that Conner is doing. But we're also now talking about some of his previous projects, such as Grimwood Crossing.
Yeah, because if you sponsor the Kickstarter, you can get some of these other works, which awesome. They look awesome, dude. They're like Western science fiction-y sort of things. We got a couple of images from this, and you know, we're stoked to check this out. But maybe you can tell us a little bit, kind of plug it a little bit for the audience, man. Just kind of, you know, what's going on here.
Yeah, so Grimwood Crossing is a supernatural western about monster hunters in the Wild West, and it really, you know, it's about redemption, it's about community, it's about facing your mistakes, and it's about kick-ass monster hunting.
That's great.
That's
man.
awesome, man. Now, again, you did all these with your collaborator Adagun, and this, again, is just a great use of that contrast of black and white, considering there's not even a lot of grays, you know? A lot of times with black and white, you get a lot of shades of gray, but this has so much contrast in it that everything that you need your eyes to see immediately, you see immediately. It's just fantastic work.
Yeah, Adagun is a classically trained artist. He just graduated from Anadolu University over in Turkey. You know, he's just, you know, we've become such good friends, and he's such an amazing creator, you know, and we just love supporting each other. I feel so lucky that he lets me waste his time. Like he's so cool. I could go all day about how awesome that guy is. We've really become friends, even though we've never met in person, you know. We talk a lot, and you know, we don't even just talk about our comics either. So it's really important to really enjoy the company of your collaborator.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, he's doing some amazing work. You know, it's no doubt, like you said. I mean, the detail in this creature. Can you tell us about this creature without too many spoilers?
Yes, it's one of the more tragic moments of the story. That creature's name is Adam, and he's actually seems to be a fan favorite.
Oh, okay.
So in my story, you kind of think of werewolves like the Hulk. Like if the Hulk comes out by itself, Bruce Banner can't really control him.
Sure.
But if he comes out willingly and Banner lets him out willingly, he's much more control. So like in this world, werewolves have complete control over their wolf. It's not a new personality, it's them by themselves, you know.
Cool.
But when the full moon comes out, that's when they have the ability to Hulk out. And they get really high tempers to where stubbing their toe can Hulk them out.
Oh man.
You know. And so without going into spoilers, you know, the main villain kind of takes advantage of this.
Oh,
gotcha. Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it really does. And again, the artwork looks fantastic, man. So really, really great stuff.
Yeah, just amazing. Yeah, Adagun loved. Oh, that's a spoiler.
Okay.
Adam a lot.
Well, let me say this then. Your just description of that series of events right there is spot on, man. You know, it sounds so interesting and so compelling, and it's a unique twist on something. And that's kind of, we were talking about supernatural earlier. A lot of times they take these old urban legends, they kind of turn them on their head a little bit and put it back out there. And that sounds like a lot of what you're doing. You're taking an urban legend or a classic monster and kind of putting a new spin on it and making it something unique in your own. And I love that, man.
Yeah, everything in Grimwood has that classic spin on it except zombies. And I did that specifically so that I wouldn't have to waste time explaining something that everyone's already almost tired of anyway. You know what I mean?
So people could latch on to that element that they know they're familiar with that, but then learn about the new things that you've added to the other. That's really cool, man. I like that a lot.
The creative process kind of speaks to that too. Like we did back and forth concept art for every creature except zombies, because when we got to zombies, I was like, you can draw a zombie. I'm not worried about it. Let's move on. Because you want to try and play with what readers already know about. They're great little shortcuts that aren't cheap if you do it right. That's why I love playing in the Western playground, because there's that Western twist on everything in the story and on everything supernatural in the story, but there's that supernatural twist on everything Western too. And I don't have to explain what it means when two cowboys reach for their fucking gun. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're staring down at each other and they're like slowly reaching for their pistol. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what those quick draws are, but that quick draw is not going to happen the way you expect.
Awesome.
Just stuff just stuff like that. We all know about the dishonest merchant. In Western stories,
snake oil salesman, right?
The friendly barkeep.
Yep.
Just like the town drunk, these cliche tropes. I like to play around with them a lot in Grimwood, and I feel like I do that a lot in my stories, to where I come off as cliche until you read it.
Yeah. No, that's probably a great way of describing when we got to read the full issue of Swords and Sorrows, that it starts off and it has this great story, but it's kind of like, okay, we can kind of see where this is going to go. And then about halfway through, it starts heading off in this other direction. And I'm just like, dude, this is great.
Yeah, I did that with Swords and Sorrows too. Like, I don't need to sit there and tell you how the guild is.
Yeah.
You as the reader know what an assassin's guild is, and I don't have to explain about a dangerous profession that is under the thumb of the, for lack of a better word, like organizational government of that profession. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's funny because when you take those sort of techniques, it all sounds like filmmaking to me. I studied a lot more filmmaking than I did story writing. But in filmmaking, if a guy reaches for a doorknob and you just show a close-up of a hand reaching for a doorknob, you expect the next scene for the guy to either be in the other room or going somewhere else. So there's subtle cues that like a reader or a viewer, whether it be TV or comic books, they learn what these cues mean, and they're different in different regions around the world, but they're starting to become more unified as we get a global presence. And that's great that you're totally tapped into that.
We're all connected now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It sounds like you're totally tapped in to those visual cues, because especially with the Swords and Sorrows, reading the whole book, so much of that has a visual component and then the words that back it up, and then a visual component and the words that back it up. And it works so well without ever being like, you're never like over explaining stuff, which is the folly of so many new creators.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
I really try hard. It's hard. Exposition is a shortcut. And it's hard not to take that shortcut when it's constantly right there at you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I struggle with flashbacks too. I was really struggling with the concept of putting a flashback in Swords and Sorrows, because it's really easy to fall in that trap of showing or of telling with a flashback instead of showing with a flashback, and it can come off as cheap in some ways. But as I like wrote the story, and I realized like I need some sort of visual cue that keeps him from just sitting there saying, "Here's my tragic story." Nah.
Well,
But,
it plays out great in the book, man. It really does.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we really
Yeah,
enjoyed.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
So, one thing we've been talking about the Kickstarter campaign, and as we mentioned earlier, it has been funded now, so it's definitely happening, But
Oh, yeah.
one thing that we all love about Kickstarter campaigns is that, a lot of times it'll include these stretch goals where if you guys are new to Kickstarter, what it is if when they hit that main goal, then it's going to happen. But if they hit, more goals after that, you guys get extra cool stuff. Well, Conner, why don't you tell us about some of the stretch goals you have planned for Swords Sorrows?
Yeah, so I love Kickstarter, and that's where I get almost all my comics. The only comic I'm picking up monthly right now is Walking Dead. All my other comics are either like classic trades I need to read, or they're coming from Kickstarter. And so, and in doing so, I've met a lot of amazing creators and a lot of supportive creators, and a lot of them offer me like, hey, like if you like need an extra reward, you can give away my comic.
That's awesome.
And Kickstarter can get really complicated with the logistics of fulfilling all these different types of packages. So I was like, I don't want to do like one thing where I give out one if you choose it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna give there's like 150 pages, or not 150. I don't remember. 7 comics you get for free if we reach $3,500.
Wow.
Each comic is about like 20 to 30 pages. So that's a lot. That's like
absolutely.
Don't hate me on math, but that's like 170 pages for free if we reach 3,500.
No doubt, and these all sound like awesome books. You got Angels of Hell, 5 Seconds, More Than Men, Resurrection Men. Cogain, is that how you say that one? Cogain?
Yeah, that's a good one.
And DS Alfine.
I think it's DS Alfine.
Alfine.
That one's really cool. That one's a fantasy musical comic, or like a fantasy comic with that music plays into a lot. Yeah, these are all creators I've come to like know and love, and they're really like, they're fantastic people. They're supportive. Each comic has had a successful Kickstarter, so it's like we're giving you a chance to get them if you missed the Kickstarter.
That's awesome, man.
That's
what a great way to collaborate.
There's no way you backed all 7 of those Kickstarters unless you're me. So you're going to get something new no matter what.
No doubt, man. Well, that sounds like what a great community out there, that you guys can all get together, work together, help promote each other, help get eyes on each other's work. And I like how you can follow each other on Kickstarter, too, and keep track of each other's projects. That's great. We're going to have to start doing that.
Just look at the comments right now. Travis Gibb and Sean Barber, they're part of that community, too. They're fantastic, and I love them. And they're very supportive too.
You know it, man. Well, it's so great that you guys are over there on Kickstarter spreading the love. We're, Power Hour over here spreading the love over on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and all that great stuff. So it's so great that we could all come together and share our creative
efforts,
projects,
projects, everything, man. Yeah, absolutely. So feel free, we're probably getting ready to wrap up the show here, but feel free to share this as much as you like everywhere you want. For all the beautiful people out there, the Legion of Love out there, man, guys, get over to Kickstarter, start supporting this beautiful indie scene, man. You know it. There you go.
Know it.
Boop, boop,
Throw
boop,
up the
boop.
love now that we have the.
I don't have love in here.
Oh, no
I don't have
love.
in
No
here.
love.
It was only in
I'm dropping the love.
There
it goes. There it goes.
We
see it.
Thank you. But yeah, guys, get out there. If you did support the Kickstarter, make sure that you share this video and let other people know, and share the Kickstarter. Let other people know where they can find this great work, because that's one thing about these indie comics, man, is that they're out there, but they're not getting pushed the way that some of these other terrible DC comics that they're putting out now. Jesus, some of that stuff is so bad. But there's so much good stuff out here on the indie scene, man. If we all just share one thing a day, we'll be connected to so much amazing stuff. Conner, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us tonight.
I had a lot of fun.
Awesome, man.
We did too.
Yes. Yeah, it's been awesome. And that's what we always like to do. We like to, of course, support the project and then kind of go into some more personal, likings, like you said, about the comic books and the movies and all that great stuff. But definitely, man, we'd love to check back in with you in, a couple months and kind of see what's going on. And yeah, like I said, we'll have to keep up with the Kickstarter. And who knows? Maybe we can come up with something for the Power Hour, maybe some merch or something.
You never know, man.
I'd love to help you guys if you ever need help with a Kickstarter.
I know we're definitely going to be checking out that blog for all the tips on there, man. So,
Oh yeah, thanks.
yeah, so that's fantastic.
I
So
got a lot of stuff down the pipeline, so there'll be plenty of excuses to come on top.
Oh, definitely, man.
Awesome.
Well, hit us up anytime. You're always welcome here on the Power Hour, man. And
Thanks, man. I had so much fun.
yeah, and send our best to Adigan too, and let him know, you know, that just, we were huge fans of his work, man. It really blew us away. So send our love.
He's an amazingly talented and generous man, for sure.
No doubt. And thank you for the excellent story, the sneak peek at everything. What's that?
His birthday's coming soon, too.
Oh man, look at that.
We'll have to keep that one on the calendar. Awesome.
But yeah, thanks again for that. I do want to give a quick plug again for next week. Conner, we're going to invite you to join us. Travis Gibb is going to be on next week telling us about Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies, his active Kickstarter right now.
Backer.
That you guys can go and check out. So feel free to join us next week for that. Feel free, all you beautiful people, to put that on your calendars because we'll be out there on Twitch, on YouTube, and right here on Facebook Live talking to Travis next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, check out Travis's Kickstarter. Sounds like something Quentin Tarantino would write.
Yes.
Oh man, that was definitely got my interest going. Well, thanks. Thank you. Thanks again, Conner. Thanks again to the Legion of Love for everyone coming out tonight and having a great time. Like Al Bandito said, this video will be available soon. Just be sure to go out there and share it and keep spreading that love. And we'll see you next Monday at 9 p.m.
You know it. Have a good night, Conner.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.